touching my spaghetti. A new day and a new stream of thought on episode number 65. We start off with Victor's got... What do you start talking about?
I don't even remember what it was. I just remember we were like just trying real hard to start the conversation. And then shortly thereafter it picked up very well. So we talk about something in the beginning that we can't recall for a few minutes, and then that segues into my camping experience in Colorado from a few years ago, where I was backpacking for about 5 weeks and my acclimation back into society.
And then we spend the remainder just talking about this being Super Bowl Sunday. It doesn't really matter who's playing, but we talk a little bit about just the passion of sports fans. It's why Victor's not actually that into sports, but what sports he'll actually sit through.
I like sports,
surprising.
But I also don't like sports. And just the overall culture in the United States, and also the culture within the different sports that there are, and brainwashing propaganda. Woo!
We always like a good conspiracy.
Yes, we do. So with that being said, episode number 65, Stream of Thought. We hope you enjoy.
Just like the YouTube video meme compilation.
Oh, wow,
a dead meme.
Wow. So you make fun of me for memes, and you're on YouTube looking at a meme compilation?
The only reason is because I had heard it through one of the podcasts I listened to, Reply All, which tries to decode memes.
Oh my god!
And this was just one of those funny ones. It made me laugh when I heard it, so I had to try and look it up. Anyway, Tom Brady. Whether he wins or loses, man.
This is going to be
He's a hero.
Outdated so fast.
I know. Well, since we are recording on Super Bowl Sunday, we don't have to talk about the game necessarily.
I don't want to talk about the game at all.
Which is fine. But at least something sports related. Unless you had a tangent that you wanted to go off on. Totally
it's funny
irrelevant
to this. It's funny that you say that because I had like 3 or 4 things that I was ready to talk about yesterday, thinking that we would have enough time to do a podcast episode. And I don't recall exactly what all of those things were.
Are you kidding me?
I will say this. I'll lead this off, and then maybe we'll see what happens. So, I know we've talked about, like, food before, like, health, like, what's healthy, what's not, and everything. Mm. And, like, usually when I'm working in the morning, sometimes what'll happen is if I don't eat breakfast, or if I don't, like, eat enough, I get really fucking hungry. Because I'm just moving around all the time, right?
Yeah.
Today, I like kind of ran out of food to make, but I did go about. I ate 1 apple and 1 banana, and dude, I was flying today. Like I don't know how that happened, but what I'm getting at is like sometimes I'll eat like a bagel or something or something else that's like not. It's like a breakfast food, but it's not like super filling. But what I'm getting at is like, man. The power of fruits and vegetables.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, there's like, what is it? The fibers in something like an apple or whatever is more nutritious than, say, the fibers that are in a bagel, right? It has the compounds or whatever is more beneficial to longer energy if you eat fruits over like breads and stuff like that. So, yeah, and I mean, it keeps you full longer as well. So.
I right now I'm also going through another phase. I know we mentioned this before. I'm going through another phase where meat just looks completely unappetizing to me at this current moment.
You're so weird, dude. You go through these weird phases. I don't quite understand. Anything in particular trigger this anti-meat
when I realized that eggs are just another word for unborn chicken fetus.
Oh my god.
I was like, that's pretty fucking gross.
You know, so, anything that you eat. Well, okay, what are you going to eat as an alternative then to meat?
And so I'm trying to figure out.
Oh my god.
I don't want to. I don't want to become one of those vegan hipsters.
Too late, man.
So
the fact that you're even bringing this.
I like honey. I like honey a lot.
Into the realm of the conversation shows that just how far you've gone. I feel like we've lost you.
No.
This is horrifying.
No.
So I mean, is it a human rights thing then, or an animal rights thing?
I'm just
help
turned
me
off.
understand.
I'm just turned off by it. Doesn't look appetizing at all.
So plants and roots and fungi. That'll be your diet.
Yeah. Rabbit food.
Rabbit food.
Lettuce and carrots.
Yep.
I don't
Tofu.
know.
Lots
I don't
and
know.
lots of tofu.
I don't know.
Huh, that's weird. I hope you come out of this weird trance sooner than later.
It's just like kind of gross, you know? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, objectively, but so is everything else that's, you know, if you think about it, you can make anything gross, you know?
I guess.
I just choose to, you know, what is that called? Cognitive dissonance, where you don't actually think about.
No, that's where you hold an opinion so strong that factual evidence against that opinion, like, you don't even believe is true.
Yeah. So, I mean, all those documentaries on how food is made and just how horrifying the system is. Like, I know that exists. Yeah. I just choose not to, you know, accept that in my current reality.
So you're taking after
because if I were to think about it, I would.
After Ray is what you're doing.
We all do that on some level. That's my point. Is that we all do that on some level.
It can't be. No, yeah. I just don't believe it. I don't care what they say.
Just like your indifference of politics.
Yeah, I guess.
Your cognitive dissonance going on right there.
No, it's just no, I disagree.
I know you would. People with cognitive dissonance often do.
So, oh my gosh.
Anyway, so yeah, that's very interesting. How long ago did this start?
Like 2 days ago, I think. What?
That's great. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm very fascinated. I really hope this isn't one of those like ongoing things that where I mean, you know, I lauded your effort. What was it, last year to go without drinking alcohol for 6 months or something?
6 months, yeah.
Holy cow! I mean that is a feat that is worthy of applause. This is just fucking stupid. We're omnivores, my friend. We have a carnivorous nature.
This is just
biologically.
Stupid.
You need your meats, man.
Oh my god.
Go organic meat.
Oh my
hormone free, you know?
I have some of that in my house.
Have the well-treated cows.
I'm upset at myself because we had some of that was like on sale, like the hormone free thing, and so I bought a bunch of it because it was on sale, and I only ate like one package, and now I have like another one. I ate half of another one. I got like some in the fridge I don't want to eat. I got more, so I have like $15 of chicken that I have that I don't. Really
Would you feel better if you slaughtered your own food?
And now that you mention that, I would feel better if I had like a farm where the animals that I ate were not farmed on a mass scale, because that weirds me out.
Yeah,
the idea of just like mass farming.
Yeah, I understand that. That's certainly
yeah. If I had like 5 or 6 chickens and I ate one every so often, I had like a cow.
But you would be willing to like chop off the head or whatever.
I don't know about that. I think I'd have to learn how to do that. My grandma did that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Nate Bledsoe from seminary, whenever he'd go back to his ranch in Texas, he'd always hunt deer and, you know, skin it and cook the meat and do everything. Like, that was just something that people around there did. It's something you grew up doing. No. I mean, it's a useful skill to have, and so they're taught it at an early age. And it's like, you know, you go hunting for meat, and this is how you use all the different parts of the body. And yeah, I mean,
see, that would be cool because you're not disconnected from the animal like you are when you're in the supermarket.
And I think so that tended to be his preference, right? Like he acknowledged sort of the flaws of the system that we're in right now. It's you can't turn anywhere without seeing some sort of mass-produced meat. You know, that's just the way that we operate. But
yeah, I would feel better if I hunted my own food.
Yeah,
lived that lifestyle.
Yeah, so think about that. Maybe take up hunting lessons.
No, I'm not a hunter. I always did tell myself though, if I ever went hunting with people, I'd have my rifle and I'd be like, if there was like this massive buck, I'd be like, I got this one, guys. and then I would intentionally miss just so the gunshot would scare the animal, and it would.
Yeah.
And I'd be ridiculed and ostracized, and I'd be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, guys. Come on." But in the inside, I'd be like,
Yeah. I don't know.
Have you ever gone hunting?
No, never for live animals.
Well, what would you hunt if you weren't hunting live animals?
I don't know. So no, I guess I've never gone hunting in any circumstance.
Have you ever done fishing?
Well, not real fishing. I
Right,
mean,
like
fishing
Lake Allen fishing? Yeah.
like stupid ass fishing in some of the ponds around here.
Yeah, I've done that too. It's boring to me.
Yeah, I just don't really find too much appeal.
I enjoy hiking and camping.
Yes, hiking.
I enjoy that a lot.
You know what? I don't think that I've ever actually camped, right? Without.
Like you've never shit in the woods, like dug your own hole to take a shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna repeat that. But yeah, no, correct.
I've done that.
I'm sure
I
you
did that
have.
in Colorado.
You say that with such a big grin on your face.
Because it's funny, dude. It's funny. You don't realize how inconvenient it is to not have a toilet.
I can imagine. I don't need to experience
And,
myself. I appreciate the simple amenities
like when
that.
we would go camping in Boy
don't
Scouts,
need
like
to-
there was always you'd be camping in your tent, but then there was always an area where you could go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
you know, with toilets and everything and running water to wash
Oh yeah,
your hands.
for sure. No, and that's how most places are, right? And I've quote unquote camped with that stuff around, right?
Yeah.
Everything like just wilderness except for porta potties or some sort of outhouse something, right?
Right. I would rather shit in the woods than take a dump in an outhouse. Outhouse. It smells so gross.
You learn how to hold your breath, man. Seriously.
So nasty. But you know what? There is something just liberating about just completely immersing yourself in nature.
It just grosses me. Seriously.
You have toilet paper, biodegradable toilet paper,
Or leaves.
Here's the thing. Here's
ivy.
the weird thing.
Right.
So, there's like toilet paper you use. It's like special toilet paper. It's like it's paper, right?
Yeah.
You can buy anything, so long as it's not like lavender scented or something weird that would be like have chemicals in it.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, paper towels are different than toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's you're making.
I don't wipe my ass with paper towels. No.
Yeah,
I'm
of course
talking
not.
about toilet paper.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about like just
Strictly-
like regular toilet paper versus special toilet paper.
all toilet paper is biodegradable, so you don't really need the specialty kind.
You know what I like doing sometimes? I don't litter, right? We went over this before.
Mhm.
And I don't like it when people litter.
I
But I
know.
do enjoy the feeling of littering when you throw a banana peel out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Or just throw an apple core off
Yeah.
to the sidewalk.
Yep.
You know? I do enjoy that feeling.
Yeah.
Or even like a popsicle stick. If it has the jokes on it, probably not because it's got ink. So I'll be like, no, I'm not going to do it because it's got ink. But even toss those or something.
Yeah.
But going back to camping real quick, because now I want to talk about my camping trip.
Oh my
My
God.
camping experience
Oh
from
my God.
4.5 years ago.
All right. This better be
Dude, no.
interesting.
Dude, it was so much fun. It was super weird for me. I'll say this. I had to acclimate coming back into society. Like, it weirded me out. It felt very foreign to me. Like, using the restroom indoors, using a real shower, being in a restaurant,
How long were you out
and
there for?
hearing 5 weeks. So it didn't take that long. It felt really weird for me, like, be indoors in a restaurant and just hear all the background noise, all the chatter, all the people moving around, like the fast pace. And, like, it made me almost want to cringe, like, this is a little too much.
Were
for me
you
right now.
without your cell phone?
Oh, of course.
So nothing. It was just you and
Right.
wilderness.
Yeah.
And 5 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, every
Interesting.
weekend, we would go back down to like the town, so you'd have access to your cell phone and stuff like that.
Oh,
and,
okay. Yeah.
You know, and so in a sense, I did obviously like use real amenities, you know, but then
How frequently was that?
it was only 2 days out of the week. One day out of the week, maybe.
Okay.
1 day out of the week.
Yeah. So it's about as close to a cutoff experience
Yeah,
as you're
so I'd be
probably
in
gonna get.
We'd be in the woods for 5 days. We'd spend 1 day on the campsite, and then like one day would be like back at someone's house or wherever.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that would probably be a pretty surreal experience.
Fun though, dude.
You know,
it was
back.
fun though. On some of these hiking trails, you see like a rundown, decomposing cabin that was probably there 150 years ago. I don't know.
What do they call that? Was that your spirit walk?
No, that was my.
Did you find yourself?
I did, but I was also pretending like I was on the Oregon Trail, like that game in elementary school.
Oh my god, I know.
You know,
you always want to be the doctor.
Yeah, dude. There were some people straight up dressed up like the 1600s, like, and we're gonna show you this is called a Dutch oven, and they tell you how a Dutch oven works and everything, and how it's so great for like cooking meals and everything. Like, dude, this thing weighs a ton, and you got to carry this thing with you. Hell no.
So they had reenactments and stuff?
There were several different areas of the camp. So like this Boy Scout camp was divided into this giant property, this huge ass property. There were like 3 different camps on the property. Mm-hmm. There was the Cub Scout camp. There was like the Boy Scout camp where you have like where areas where they can set up their tents and they walk to their different merit badges and, you know, and have the shop that you could buy candy or whatever. And then there was ours, which was strictly like the hardcore hiking people. Like you had to be
hardcore, man.
Like if you were in Boy Scouts, you had to be at least like 14 or 15 to do this portion of the thing. And there were several different troops there at the same time. And you could never like migrate from one thing to the other. Like the people that were hardcore camping had maybe a day to walk to the shop where you can buy candy, and that's about it. And then we were gone for like 5 days.
Oh, okay, so it was in and out kind of thing.
Yeah, and we would, depending on the level of difficulty they wanted, sometimes we would do hiking around in the property, you know, a lot of the time, which is awesome. And other times they would drive us like 30, 45 minutes to like a national park and drop us off there, and we would hike through for a few days, and they'd pick us up on the other side.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever experienced
without any phones. Without any phones, it's like, all right, we'll see you on the other side on this date. You know.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Dude, oh my gosh, this is what happened to me. So I'm with this group, right? And we're going through one of the forests around the mountains, and it's really, really, really cool. And we're going through a trail, and we're supposed to cross this river, right? This river has got to be probably like, I want to say at least 50 feet in width, and probably at least up to your waist in depth.
Wow.
So it's not just some dainty river, right?
It's for real.
So we're walking, and there's no bridge. There's a sign that says bridge out.
I thought those only existed in like movies.
Right?
Bridge out.
Right?
And there's actually a bridge out.
It's apparently
wow.
it's and I'm like shit. And one of the kids tried crossing the river.
Did he get sucked downstream?
To see. And they're like, and this kid Thomas, I think his name was, and he comes back and he's like, oh, shivering, real cold, because he had rolled up his pants to his ankles and everything, and went like barefoot. And he's like, oh man, it's so cold. And they're like, no way, we can't do it. Like Thomas is the toughest kid in the troop, and if he can't do it, like we can't. It's like, oh, you bunch of Marys, whatever. Like let's just do this.
Forge the river,
right?
Yeah.
Like I would do it.
I know.
But and I've got like a couple of adults that are in their mid-50s, so of course you know what I'm saying. Like I'm responsible for these people, and I just can't make them do it. So
there will
I
be
immediately
casualties.
think I feel like I'm fairly good when I'm able to identify that one option is no longer an option, and you need to resort to a different plan, and accepting that, whether you want to or not.
Yes.
So I found out pretty quickly, like, this isn't going to happen. Immediately I thought to myself, I have to turn around, run my ass back, get someone to pick me up, make a phone call somewhere to call them and let them know we can't be picked up on the other side, because this is what happens when you don't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
And if you, actually, I had my cell phone with me, but there's just no reception out there.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, right? Because I had it to take pictures and everything. So I said, all right, guys, this is what's going to happen. Start walking back. I'm going to double time back. And this other kid came with me. And we double timed for like probably a good, I want to say at least 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude.
Really?
This is near the end of our trip. So get this.
Goodness.
So this is after a few days of hiking.
Yeah.
Imagine like hiking, nice and slow, enjoying the scenery, taking a break, hiking, setting up camp, waking up, the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
We went back. It took about 3 or 4 hours to just double timing and stop for a few seconds and then double time, stop for a little bit, double time. All that terrain, right?
Yeah.
It took us a few hours. And I'm on the side of the road with my thumb hanging up.
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
Asking for a
Holy
ride.
crap. As you're trying
now
to...
I'm back where we started.
Okay.
And I got my we start walking. I'm like, well, we got to start walking. And doing this, right?
Yeah.
A car pulls over, and we had our bags on. This car pulls over, and I let them know what happened. Like, we need to get to a phone. Can you drop us off at the next restaurant or whatever? And they're like, yeah, okay. And they drop us off, and they said to us when they dropped us off, like, yeah, no, we just didn't know if you were serial killers or not, but you boys looked like you were, good people, so we went ahead and just picked you up. So thank you. So I go into this shop that's this weird ass shop that is, I think it's a prerequisite crossing state line. This was in Colorado. It was on state lines, but you have to stop at one of these places when you're going across country. You walk in, and it's kind of mystical, and there's all these things that are carved out of wood, and you don't really see the shopkeeper anywhere, and then all of a sudden he just appears out of nowhere type thing.
Uh-huh.
And I let him know what happened. He let me use the phone, so I call Brittany, like the camp director, and let her know, like, hey, this is what happened. Tell John, who's picking us up, to pick us back up where we started, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, he'll be there, maybe in 3 or 4 hours or something like that. I'm like, all right, because now at this point, all we can do is wait, right? And I believe the people that drove us there drove us back, or I think they drove us back. I can't remember. I think they stayed there to make sure we were able to contact whoever we needed to contact, and they drove us back. Mm-hmm. Or we walked back, I don't know. So there we are, me and this other kid, waiting. We're just sitting there, because that's all we can do at this point is wait. Mm-hmm. And John, the guy who's picking us up, shows up eventually. He's like, where's the rest of the crew? I'm like, they're coming. And his job is to go pick up other people, right? So it's not like he can just wait there forever.
Yeah.
And like, no, they'll be here soon. And I'm thinking to myself, I hope they're fucking here soon. Like, I hope this doesn't take forever. Because one of the kids had like a heart problem. He only had like
One of the
kids had like only 3 of the 4 valves or aortas or whatever the hell are in the heart.
Yeah.
And so we'd have to stop a lot for him, which is fine, And 15 minutes later, a few people arrive. I'm like, yes. I'm like, where's everyone else? Like, why didn't you guys stick together? Where's the rest of the group?
Uh-huh.
Oh, they're coming. Like, they better be coming. And then, like, another 10 or 15 minutes go by, more people show up. And then, like, another 5 minutes after that, like, the rest of them show up.
Wow.
So, I
Quite
am
the
just
adventure.
like, wow. So they
Did you lose anyone?
No. Do you know what he tells me? Yeah, the one person said, that bridge has been out for 11 years. What? And the guy who recommended that trail to me, I think he knew the bridge was out and he wanted to see what would happen. Because he recommended the trail to me, and I noticed on the map before we did this, it says bridge out. But he's like, no, you can cross the river, there's a bridge. So I'm thinking maybe this map's outdated, or maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was.
So I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
This is the same group that I'm with. Prior to the whole bridge thing happening, we somehow got off trail. And I knew we were off trail because all of a sudden I take a step back. I see people going up in this direction, people going up in this direction, people going up in this direction. I realize we're in the middle of the fucking forest. Like, and if we try and figure this out anymore, then we're going to get lost, you know? So we go back and then we find our way on the trail quickly thereafter, which is nice. And then like the day after, or later that day or something is when the whole bridge thing happened. I have this device, this little orange device that can signal if I need help. So when we got lost and then like again with the bridge, I hit this thing. And I'm thinking to myself, I was given this and they pretty much just tell me, yeah, if you need help or anything, like beep this thing and someone will come. I'm like, okay. And I thought to myself, like, that really doesn't explain anything. That really doesn't explain anything. So I'm hitting this thing a couple of times, and I realize no one's coming. Like, I don't know if this is just to pacify somebody's stress, you know?
Yeah.
Because they pick us up. Yeah, we saw you hitting the thing. We saw that you hit the button a few times. You guys okay? Yeah, because I figured this shit out on my own. Thanks for helping me.
So
I'm okay. We made it out. No broken bones,
Wow.
no blood, no poison ivy. Everything is cool. Thanks for the directions, guys.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sure that was a good workout. I can't believe 3 or 4 hours of double timing.
Yeah.
That's
It was fun, dude. You know what?
insane.
It was fun because when
Oh my
that when that
goodness.
type of stuff happens, like I'm pretty positive about that type of stuff. Like I knew it would be a great story to tell, and it was pretty fun because I thought to myself, "Okay, cool. I get to go back through this area, this area, this area. Like this had a really cool view. I really liked the way that I felt when I was walking through this, dude. Like I made a scrapbook that I'll show you, but like the pictures do it no justice. It's amazing to walk through a forest, right? With just trees and flowers everywhere and just this narrow path that you walk through. And then when you're in it, and then all of a sudden you're in a big, huge open field. And then you're walking through and there's just like, you're walking through this all rocks, like all this granite, this entire wall of granite, and you're walking through it, and on the other side is a river and then a fucking mountain like right next to you.
Sounds
Like,
incredible.
It's so therapeutic. Like people got to do that every few years, just escape and do
Your own
something
little
like
sabbatical.
that. Oh man, it was really really great.
Yeah, you really are one to be one with nature.
I love it.
Say,
I really do love
I
it.
appreciate nature in small doses.
Yeah, it's like my mom would fucking hate it. My mom would hate that shit.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that it would be wonderful. It's just it's not really on my bucket list or anything like that.
I think you would like it for a week. I'm not saying do it for like several weeks. I'm
mean,
saying like just to take a week to do some camping.
I am sure that I could find value in it for however long I ended up doing it. It's just not one of those things that I'm super, feel like I got to go out there and do before I,
No, but if you
settle
just
down.
did it, I think you would think differently. If you just did it.
I doubt it.
I disagree.
I really doubt it.
Another thing too that I realized, because on one of the treks we were going through the mountains and we went up to, I think we were up at like 12,000 feet altitude, which the trees stop growing. Like there are no trees after like 11 and a half thousand feet.
Huh.
And at that height too, it starts getting cold.
Okay.
So I remember being in my tent, like just being I was not warm. I was warm enough to not die.
That's a good threshold
Okay.
right there. All right.
I'm in my sleeping bag. I remember straight up wearing like my jeans in my sleeping bag, my sweatshirt. I'm in my sleeping bag, freezing my ass off. It's probably like 40 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'm so happy that I have a home that I can sleep in. And like, I'm not someone who has to go through this shit every day. Sleeping, like,
Sleeping in all the homeless people who sleep in the mountains.
Not having a bed to sleep in. No, not the homeless. I was thinking of just people in metropolitan areas.
Oh, okay. That's
Oh,
quite
man.
a leap, but
And then another time I was on top of this mountain and I'm looking down and dude, I see these dots. Like these tiny little dots.
were they ants?
They were people, dude.
They were
It was crazy. Fucking crazy.
Wow, you must have been really, really far away.
I am not a fucking 9-year-old little kid. 29.
Well, let's stop acting like it. Okay, so
Let's
I
talk
feel
about
like-
something that,
no,
that amazes you that I can make fun of.
No. So I'm thinking, like, yes, I feel like there would be something unique about doing it outside of the U.S., right? maybe the Tibetan mountains or something crazy like that. That's just a very unique.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you're in Tibet, you need to have some serious training.
Yeah, I know.
Not just like a waltz in the park.
I know. That would be an experience worth having. Right? What's wrong?
Nothing.
Okay. You're giving me a look.
That's
right
like
now.
saying... I mean, that's like saying something like going to the beach would be cool. Going to the beach in Brazil would be cooler. It's like the same thing, pretty much.
Okay, so let me reframe just slightly. I would rather spend my time like traveling to different countries as opposed to experiencing different nature environments, right? As a leisure activity. Does that make sense?
Experience comes from within, not from without.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
You'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, that was my story.
That was your story.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to like poo-poo all over it.
No. It was cool. So, I did a lot of talking.
You did do a lot of talking. I got nothing. Because you squashed my sports idea.
I didn't squash it. What's there to... Okay, so you want to talk about the Super Bowl?
No, I didn't necessarily want to talk about the Super Bowl. Basically,
Baseball's over.
My curiosity, though, comes with... Because you're not... Okay,
Basketball is halfway there.
You're not a sports person, right? You don't really care about sports at all. Like, you don't really get excited about sporting events, do you? Or... I don't know. I mean, you just tend not to be one who talks about it much.
I enjoy...
Except for fantasy.
Fantasy football.
Yes, we all know that.
I enjoy playoffs. Playoff season.
Of, like, any sport or sports in particular?
Of any sport, with the exception of... I'll be honest, dude. Baseball is the most boring-ass sport I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
Baseball is so boring. I will only watch baseball if I am at the game.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm ready to go home after about 5 innings.
I think I would agree with you there. I mean, for me, it's like interesting to follow a team over the course of a season, right? So statistical stuff adds up. But watching the games themselves, it's like, oh my goodness. There's a game every once in a while that goes like 19 innings, or is like a crazy scoring, like they scored 25 runs or something like that.
Let me tell you my problem with
every
sport in the United States.
All right.
So let's start with baseball. We kind of cover that. Boring. So boring. Mm-hmm. And anyone who argues, yeah, but you got to think about where the play is going to be, and this, like, I don't care. Like, I don't.
It's very repetitive, wouldn't you say?
It's just a slow ass, boring game.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah. Because, I mean, really, like, no one's moving unless the ball is hit.
Nothing happens. Like...
And the ball is hit, what? Maybe 24 times at the most?
You can't look me in the eye and seriously tell me with conviction that baseball is an exciting sport. It's not. Okay, so we've clearly grasped my opinion on baseball.
You've established that.
Okay, let's go to basketball. Great sport. It can be exciting. It moves, right? There's a lot of movement. However, NCAA 1,000 times better than the NBA.
Agreed. I do agree with that.
1,000 times better than the NBA. And here's why. When I'm watching basketball, it doesn't really do it for me when everyone just... Like those games that go over 100 points, all you're seeing is baskets going in. There's no defense.
Yeah.
Just people shooting the ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's like, what is this? Mm-hmm. What is this?
Versus skill and strategy that a lot of times, that you see in the NCAA. I also like the fact that the upsets are so much greater. In the NBA, I mean, yeah, maybe...
A team that sucks is going to lose.
Exactly. And by a proportional, like, it's rare that you see a game that is like 60 to 120 or something like that.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen in the NBA. But I love it where in college you have a team that's expected to lose by 60 ends up like winning by 10 or something like that. And that makes it so much more impactful, right? And so much more exciting of a game.
Now, talk to me 20 years ago, 25 years ago,
Well, yeah.
the golden era of basketball. Wow.
You're talking about the NBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a completely different game that was. And basketball, I loved it growing up. Now I don't care for it. But I loved it growing up, dude.
Those were some of my first sports memories. Was watching it was the first three-peat, I think, of the Bulls, and then watching the next year. Gosh, I still remember watching the next year. They were playing the Utah Jazz, and they ended up losing to the Jazz after Jordan was out, after he retired. And just feeling so disappointed after remembering, the joy that we had felt as a family the year before when they had won the championship. And it was just, one of my first sports memories ever.
I loved basketball.
Ingrained in me, Chicago.
Growing up in the 90s. Now I don't care for it. Another thing is, too, I think that I've watched basketball enough times with Neil that he's completely turned me off to it. Because love you, Neil, but it is so fucking annoying to watch basketball with you because you just never stop screaming at the fucking television.
The commentary is unnecessary.
Annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying.
I could certainly see how that would be. You just watch a game and you just hear the echoes of Neil in your head.
And then, let's see.
What about hockey?
Let me go to football. I'm going to save hockey for...
Right.
Okay, football. I enjoy football. I can really only watch about 3 to 5 minutes at a time.
The commercials, dude.
And here's the thing with football.
The
thing with football that's the same with basketball. The whistle gets blown every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Short bursts of action.
It's cool seeing great plays, but more often than not, you see someone you see like a rush, they gain 1 yard, they tackle, it's over. It's just like, come on. In commercials, commercials.
Yeah. Something like in a 60-minute game, there's something like 8 to 12 minutes of actual action where people are in motion. Like full speed.
No, thank you.
Yeah. That's why it's so interesting when they have, I'll see on YouTube sometimes there's a game or something that was trending, and it's maybe it's normally like a 15-minute clip, basically of every single play of the entire game. You could watch that 15 minutes and save yourself the 3.5 hours of watching the whole game live. Just be like, that's every single play that was run the entire game in 15 minutes.
I agree 100%. And again, NCAA so much better than the NFL. Not as big of a margin as basketball, but it is pretty exciting to watch NCAA football.
They should expand the playoffs too. I think that would be awesome.
Yes. And my favorite basketball to watch is March Madness.
Oh my God.
Fuck
the craziness of March Madness.
March Madness.
It really is.
Moving to hockey. Now, I'm going to speak on hockey and soccer simultaneously because they are very similar in the sense that for soccer, the clock doesn't stop. And when the play stops in soccer, the play stops it's very minimal before they start back up again. Yeah. And the same with hockey, which I like. And that I like hockey and soccer more than I like the other sports because it's fluid.
Yeah.
The fluidity
and there's
of it.
Constant motion, right?
There's constant motion.
Doing something.
And it's more rare to see a goal scored than it is to see a touchdown or a basket.
And
or a
psychologically,
home run.
that's more rewarding, right?
Yes.
And
I like hockey because you get to see fights.
Of course.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I like soccer just because I grew up playing soccer. So I'll admit that I have like a slight bias. But I will say this: the watching the plays, like for example with football, right? A crazy play. Mm-hmm. There's like 1 or 2 actions. You know, there's maybe like a play action, or like a double handoff, or like a trick play, or like a Hail Mary, and that's it. So it's like, whoa, With soccer, you can have like 3 or 4 things, boom, 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 line up real quick, and then all of a sudden it's a fucking goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit. And all these sports require different uses of your muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
But I love seeing soccer, seeing like bicycle kicks, or jumping up. I can't remember. I think it's a scissor kick when you jump up and you're parallel with the ground and you hit it.
Okay.
And I just like soccer more.
So you're fellatiating soccer.
But
right now.
no.
With the ball!
But listen, I do not watch MLS. I only watch soccer during the World Cup because making this full circle, I'm not a sports guy.
Yeah.
Not a sports guy. I enjoy going to games. I enjoy going to games, but it just doesn't do it for me. I can find better uses of my time than to sit in front of a TV and watch sports.
Oh, yeah.
For the duration of the game, or even half of it.
And that's where I think there's a difference between just watching sports and like watching sports with a purpose. So, I don't know. You don't have like any sort of, across any sport, a favorite team or anything like that, do you? Like a team that you would just if it was on and you were flipping through the channels and you saw it, you would watch for a period of time, even if as short as a half of the game.
No.
Like no team that would just be
like if the Bulls were playing Cleveland, I wouldn't watch any of it.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bears were playing, whether it's Minnesota, Green Bay, Detroit, or any other team, I'd check on it periodically. Go back and I'd maybe
probably because you have fantasy players.
I'd watch a few plays
more than actually watching the Bears.
But even with my fantasy players, even if I have fantasy players that are not on the Bears, I would maybe watch them for a few minutes at a time. I would not lose any sleep over a loss.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's probably the Bears are the only team that I would consistently watch. Right, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch most other Chicago teams, unless it's around the playoffs, right? Unless either they're trying to get into the playoffs or actually in the playoffs. That's when it's like, it's worth checking them out.
I watch
once or twice.
0 Bulls, 0 Cubs. Periodically check on the Bears and any other NFL team pending my fantasy players. And hockey, I don't watch any hockey with the exception if the Blackhawks make it to the playoffs, I'll watch.
Yeah.
But again, it just doesn't do it for me. And then there's one other thing about sports I was going to add, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
I don't know if it was about viewing sports or, well, obviously we're fucking talking about watching the sport. Oh, man.
There's something about team pride. I don't know if that's where you were going at all, but like having a team to cheer for.
I was going to say I have 0. Like, I don't really have much loyalty. Like, I'm not a hardcore loyal fan. Like,
Mm-hmm.
If the Packers beat the Bears, I'm not going to curse out the Packers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like whatever. But also, when I move to LA, I'm going to get a Dodgers hat.
Of course you will.
I'll for sure get a Dodgers hat.
See, I feel like, I don't know, I take pride in my city. And maybe that's what has to do with cheering for, like, a particular team, right? Like, I'll cheer for all the Chicago teams over any other team, except for maybe the Patriots and Bears. Like, I could go.
Jerry Seinfeld has this bit where he makes fun of like, he's like, what are we doing cheering for sports teams? You are essentially cheering for colors. Because, one team moves from one city,
That's how I chose how to be a Cubs fan. I like the colors more than the White Sox.
One team moves from one city to another. Maybe they keep the same name. Maybe they don't. Your favorite player gets traded to another team. The coach ends up working for another team. So what are we like? He's like, what are we cheering for? We are rooting for colors.
Yeah. That's such a fair point, And because I'm this whole, like, anti-institutional...
That's how my grandmother bet on the horses. It was based on what the color scheme was on their uniform.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And considering I'm all about being aware of, like, propaganda, I feel like, that's sports teams instill in you propaganda from, like, an early age.
That's also how I select my wine.
Oh, really?
How it looks. But yes, they do instill... There is a mild bit of propaganda because if you can get people riled up about a certain
dude,
team, or
yeah.
or if you can get look at it this way, if you can get an entire city riled up about one particular product that you sell, yeah.
Think about how crazy. I mean, you see, especially in hockey, in some of these cities where in Canada or whatever they lose, you see riots across the entire city. Thousands of people out in the streets, flipping over cars, burning trash cans. It's just all for sport. And it's like, oh my God.
In Europe,
what have we become?
In Europe, there's a movie called Green Street Hooligans. In Europe and in South America, where I know, yeah, there's like riots and shit. So when I was in Brazil, real quick, at the World Cup, there were like SWAT teams in their full-on riot gear in the stadiums, and alcohol was not allowed. They don't serve alcohol in soccer stadiums, right?
Yeah.
Because people get too riled up and get too fucking crazy. But for the World Cup, I think they allowed people to drink alcohol because they were like, well, if we're not allowed to drink people aren't allowed to drink alcohol. They're going to sneak it in anyway. And like, there's way too many people coming in from out of the country. Like, it would be.
I think Budweiser forced the issue too. I think that
yes,
they
agreed.
They
yes,
forced
they did.
them to change
the
rules.
Yeah, just specifically
for them.
But people like one person told me that they're like, yeah, one person died. Like, how'd that happen? Someone threw a toilet over the ledge, and it hit someone on the like, where did they bring in a toilet from? What are you talking about? But there's a movie called Green Street Hooligans about this like journalist who goes undercover to this football club in Europe. These people, these fans, these crazy ass fans of these different clubs, like straight up brawl and duke it out before the matches, before, during, or like after the match. Like, it's more than a sport. It's like a way of life.
People die, man.
Like,
some of these, especially some of these like smaller English towns or whatever. Like, yeah, they'll murder each other.
Embedded into their DNA.
Yeah,
and people also, like, for example, like Maradona, who's this super famous Argentinian player, who's just always on coke when he was playing, and he was a coach too. And they didn't realize until afterwards, but. Like, people would have shrines of soccer players that they would pray to before a match. Like, people are that into it.
Oh, it's a religion, like, for sure, yeah.
It's so insane.
Absolutely. Dude, I wonder if anything crazy is going to happen because, I mean, look at both Boston fans and Philadelphia fans. They're both
fucking
pretty
nuts.
So,
yeah.
And, riots are not unheard of in either place.
I think it's crazy, like, that, for example, like, football and hockey, you probably get the most gung-ho, loyal fans in terms of just embedding those colors into their DNA. Like, baseball and basketball.
Especially in the South, dude.
You don't see people get that crazy about baseball. Like, people are fairly on good behavior when it comes to baseball. And I mean, obviously you get people that might maybe get into little skirmishes or trash talking and get you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, blue collar cities, especially particularly with football or hockey.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you need to chill out.
White people, man, you can't trust them with their sports.
Chill out, bro. Philadelphia, chill out. Boston, chill out.
I mean, there's so many places where the culture is just. I don't think Chicago would ever be one to riot. If anything, it would have been during the White Sox.
I think
the Cubs win.
We're
right?
accustomed to losing too much to.
We are, but
riot.
even in those moments of celebration, I think we were just so genuinely excited about like the Cubs win that we just forgot to riot. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we were pretty well behaved for that, and that kind of surprised me because I really thought that would be like board up your windows, man, because shit is gonna get real.
What's the how many Alabama games did you see? Did you see one?
I never saw one in person.
Oh, I thought you went to one.
One time. I never ended up going to one, but the South, dude. Like, especially in Alabama on a game day, every place is closed. Like, no joke.
Oh, I bet.
No one's open. Everyone's watching the game. Everyone orders fucking Chick-fil-A. across the whole state. Like, it's a thing that people do. It's a weird cultural thing. But, I mean, it's like they're watching, like a live action surgery or something like that. You just, like, that's how weighty this event is. You can feel, like, is grandma going to die while we watch this game? Like, she could have a heart attack, Oh, they just fumbled. Oh, someone get the respirator.
Wow.
It's crazy, man. It really is part of their soul. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So anyway.
What else?
What else?
I'll be honest, I'm talked out right now. I can feel it in my...
We're at
what's it called? The larynx?
The larynx.
Larynx, right?
I have absolutely no
The
idea.
larynx.
No, this was solid.
What did I say what did I say yesterday? This is pretty... I was trying to describe something. I said, what is it called? Gnarly? Garly? Snarly?
Oh, yeah.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, my dog was gnarling at me. You're like, you mean snarling? I'm like, yeah. I knew there was something off with that.
There's always something off.
All right. Well, that concludes this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time.